Just because you're a healed woman doesn't mean you'll stop attracting broken men. If anything, broken men, they love a healed woman. And it's not because they want to grow. They love a healed woman because she comes with peace that they don't have. She comes with calm, strength, patience. She comes with the kind of love that feels safe to a man who never learned how to be safe to himself. And if you were a fixer, then you got to be careful with that. Because just because you're a healed woman doesn't mean broken men will stop showing up out of nowhere. No, they'll show up. Being healed means you got to use discernment. It's like being a positive person. You're not going to all of a sudden stop attracting negativity or negative people or negative situations. It's about choosing positive perspective. So even as a healed woman, that's the reason why you are a healed woman, so that you can choose better for yourself, so that you can use discernment in situations that you don't want to repeat again. Does that make sense? Because you can heal, you can grow, you can set boundaries, you can become wiser, and you can still attract a man who sees your peace as a place to rest his demons. And I know a lot of people say, well, you attract what you are. That is true to a degree. Sometimes you attract what you used to tolerate. Sometimes you attract the very people who you fought so hard to save. Sometimes you attract what feels most familiar to the part of you that used to confuse being needed with being loved. But here's the truth, right? You don't always become what you attract. You become what you keep accepting. That's the difference. A broken man can be attracted to you. A damaged man can approach you. A man with no emotional discipline can want access to you. But this is where you have to use discernment in your healing to choose what to stay and what to remove. Just because you are a new version of yourself doesn't mean the old versions of yourself are not there no more. They're there. All right. No one heals 100%. Healing is just a perspective that closes the chapter of the old version of you so that you could move on to a new chapter. But it doesn't mean that old chapter doesn't exist no more. Right? You don't write a book with 20 chapters, and just because you read the last chapter doesn't mean the remaining 19 chapters don't exist no more. They exist. They're part of the story. They're part of the whole book. Your past versions of yourself are still there. They're still chapters, and you can always reread them when you attract these certain types of men that your old version of yourself used to be attracted to, or you used to try to save, or you didn't know better back then. Those versions of you will show up. But now that you're in a different chapter of your life, now you can use your old chapters as lessons. This is why you have to keep awareness around the identity that you're trying to become, that you're trying to remain, that you're trying to grow into. Because if you were a fixer, right, you'll still get drawn towards a man who has potential, and you'll find whatever part of him that's lacking, you'll try to fix it. That part of you will show up. You'll hear his sad story, you'll see his pain, and then you'll see what he could become. And before you even know it, your heart starts making excuses for his poor behavior that your healed self knows that it's not safe. And this is where you got to take a step back and pause, because the old version of you thought that fixing a man was part of loving him. The old version of you thought that if you loved him harder, if you loved him better, if you went above and beyond for this man, then he would finally become a better man. That maybe he would finally show up. That maybe he would finally appreciate you. But that's the old version of you. Healing teaches you something different. Healing teaches you that his pain is not your assignment. His potential is not a reason to keep that relationship alive when he doesn't even put in effort to show you that potential will manifest itself one day. Healing will also teach you that his brokenness is not a reason for you to abandon yourself to put him back together. That's his job. And see, because now you know all of this, a healed woman is actually dangerous to a broken man. Even though they like you, they think because you healed, you don't come with drama, you're peaceful. But what they don't realize is your superpower is now discernment. You know how to cut off a man that you don't need, like a bad habit, because now you know that you can care, but you don't have to carry the whole relationship by yourself. Now you know that you can understand without making excuses for poor behavior. Now you know that you can have compassion without him using your peace as a shelter for his demons. Because a fixer will say, I know he's hurt, so I'll stay. But a healed woman says, I know he's hurt, but he still has to take responsibility for his pain, instead of bleeding on people that never cut him. And that's the shift. inside of you. Because a lot of times broken men don't show up like they're broken men. Sometimes they come charming. They come soft-spoken. They know how to make you laugh. They know how to tickle you with their personality, try to make you giggle with sweet words and laughter. They know. Sometimes they'll be vulnerable and use their vulnerability to catch your softness. They'll tell you this whole sob story, everything that they've been through. And if you fall for it, it's because you're a fixer. If you didn't fall for it, it's because you healed that version of yourself. Or you could also not be a fixer. But let's say you are a fixer. Because you got that kind of heart, you'll listen. But don't just listen to his pain, watch his patterns. Does he use his pain to grow? Or does he use his pain to get access to you? Or does he also play a victim and uses his pain as a reason why he should now hurt people? This is how sometimes hurt people hurt people. Does he respect your boundaries? Or does he make you feel guilty for having them? Does he want healing? Does he want to do the work? Or does he just want access to you while he just remained the same because you've accepted him that way? That's what you got to pay attention to. Because a broken man can love your calm. He can love your softness. But it doesn't mean he'll protect it. And he can love your strength. He can complement your strength. But it doesn't mean he won't live off of it. So once again, just because you're a healed woman doesn't mean you won't attract broken men. You'll attract them. But you have to pay attention to the version of yourself that you've healed in the past so that you don't accept them again. Ain't nothing wrong with a broken man. We're all broken. We've all been through shit. But at some point, you have to take responsibility of your pain and have awareness around it so that you don't bleed on the people that never cut you. And you've been through enough, sis. You've been through enough shit. Now is not the time to go through more shit. You didn't survive all that pain just to let another man come back into your life to destroy your peace like the shit that you've been through in the past. You can pray for that man, but it don't mean that you got to be his partner. Sorry, let somebody else deal with him. Matter of fact, he got to deal with himself. You can care about him, but it doesn't mean you have to carry him. You can wish that man healing, wish him the best, and still choose yourself. Ain't nothing selfish about that, because your love is not a medicine for a man who refuses to heal. If he's broken, he can work on himself. He can buy a couple books. He can listen to a few podcasts. He can pray to God. Because if he really wanted to heal, he would actually do the work without letting you doing it for him. You can't save him. But when you're a healed woman, you know how to move by playing chess now. Not like playing checkers like you used to do in the past. And if you're not there yet, if you haven't done the work yet, if you're not a healed woman yet, that's okay. Be patient with yourself, but learn from your past versions of yourself. Learn from this current version of yourself. You can't evolve if you're not creating an identity of who you want to become and actually mold yourself into it, right? Look at the best version of yourself. How does she move? How does she act? How does she use discernment? How does she deal with anxiety? How does she deal with depression? How does she set her boundaries? Learn about that version of yourself and start reading that script every day. And eventually, you'll become that woman. All right. That's all I got to say. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. Until the next message, much love and peace.